Hi, my name is Brooklyn, and for my project, I decided to do a wedding budget tracker, which is designed to help couples organize the expenses involved in planning a wedding. There's so many things that need to be done in a wedding, and sometimes it's hard to keep track of things and stay within the budget. But this is a tool that can help simplify that and compare your actual cost with your budgeted cost of things. Um, so I use lots of different things, like formulas, tables, pivot tables, charts, and conditional formatting to help see this, and so you can clearly see what went over budget. So this first tab is the data, which contains all of the original information for the wedding expense. Each row represents a different wedding category. As you can see, there's venue, flowers, dress, all of the things. The columns organize the information into several fields. So the first column shows the category. Next is the vendor, like where you got it from. Then next we have the budgeted cost, which is the amount originally planned for that expense. And then we have the actual cost, which shows what was actually spent. So then finally, the spreadsheet calculates the difference between the budgeted cost and actual cost, and it helps us clearly see what expenses went over or under the budget. So I use conditional formatting here so that you can clearly see that. The red ones are obviously how much you went over your budget. So for example, the venue is budgeted at $5,000, but you actually spent $5,200, so you're over $200. Then we have this pie chart, which it just helps visualize so you can see where your money, where most of it is being spent within the whole wedding itself. Next is our pivot table, which summarizes the data from the main sheet. This is helpful because it organizes and summarizes the information. So instead of looking at every row individually, you can quickly see the sum of it. So if there are multiple things for the cake that needed to be done, you can see the total cost of your actual amount here. So it helps you quickly identify which cost had the highest expenses. So this went from lowest to the highest amount. So obviously we can see that the venue was the most expensive category. So it just makes it easier to analyze the data set and understand it. Next is the summary tab. So this provides an overview of the entire wedding budget. So I use some formulas here to calculate the total budget, total actual cost, and then the total difference. So instead of looking at each category individually, the sheet allows you to calculate just those values. So the total budget for the wedding was $18,950, and then the total cost ended up being $19,300. So this means that the wedding went over budget of $350 over the planned budget. So even though some categories, looking back at this, even though some categories were under budget, those savings were often offset by higher costs in areas like venue, photography, catering. So this just really shows how you can use Excel to kind of organize financial data and calculate the difference between what's planned and what's your actual expenses. And we can clearly see where the budget changed and which categories had the biggest impact on the final cost. So tools like pivot tables and charts and formulas can be useful for budgeting and financial planning in real-world situations. Thank you.